Closures are one of the most powerful features of JavaScript. With closures, you can solve a lot of tricky problems. Here is a famous example that shows you the importance of closures. First, let's create a variable I and give it a value of 0. Then I will create a function, I will call it countDog. This function increments the value of I whenever you call it. Then it console logs the value of I. So let's start off calling the function. Now I becomes 1. Let's call it for the second time. Now I is 2. Let's call it for the third time. Now I is 3. Let's console log the value of I. It says 3. Great. Now what if you want to count cat? Well, you can copy and paste the same function and start calling it. So we have 1, 2, and 3 cats. Now let's go and count some dogs. What? It starts from 4. So you can see here that it starts from 4. Well, that's normal. The countDog function and the countCat function are both using the same variable, the variable I. To fix this, you can create another variable to count cat. So this will fix this problem. So let's count dog, 1 dog, 2 dogs, 3 dogs. Then let's count cat. So 1, 2, great. Now what if you want to create count birds? Are you going to create a new function and a new variable? Well, this is not the best solution. Fortunately, you have closures. We can create one function and this function will create another function for us. So let's see how we can do it. Let's remove all of what we have here. This var I is now local to this function. And now to create a closure, we just have to return a function. And this function will allow us to use this local variable. So this function for the moment increments I, then console logs the value of the counter. And now we can make use of this function to create a counter for dogs, a counter for cats, and a counter for anything that we like. So let's first create a countDog. Now when we call the counter function, this function will create a local variable. Then it returns a new function for us that we can call later on. And now we can count dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great, it is working properly because when we return this function will have access to this local variable. And that's basically closures in JavaScript. We can create another counter and now we can call the countDog and we can call the countCat. And it works. Great. For each time you create a new function, a new counter, this counter will create a new local variable that is just for this context. The I for the countDog and the I for the countCat are different. They are not the same. Each one lives in a specific context, and that's closures. Great.